and 2, recommending a multi-year zero-based budgeting process, a 3-year zero-based budgeting process to the council. If the council chooses to do that by committee, that is a choice of council. Whether this committee wants to recommend using that or not is entirely up to you. And are there any other recommendations of this committee as it relates to that agenda item of the general fund cash deficit?
Regarding the attorney budget, is that something that can be done immediately? To ask Mr. Rosenberg if he can work within the budget? If not, what is his recommendation? And if he can't work with it, what is our recommendation to the council? Because that would be an immediate savings. Well, maybe not immediate, but long term, if we wind up with another.
I think it'd be more feasible to, you know, especially if Mr. Rosenberg can't work within those meets and bounds, that we're able, you know, us as a committee can utilize the resource as much as possible and not to put a limit on it as we are right now.
Can you explain the relationship that we have with the attorneys for the 4A? It is my understanding that we pay a monthly fee to these attorneys as a retainer, and they provide services within a certain scope, not based on hours, but based upon, okay, we will provide these services for this monthly rate. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
Maybe that's an avenue to pursue or seek proposals from. Instead of saying that, here's the $100,000, we want you to work within that. Rather, because there are a number of unknowns, you know, if we're gonna have to go through countless lawsuits and other pieces, I doubt that any attorney would be willing to stand up and say, yeah, I'll do it for this amount of money. But maybe instead of an hourly rate, we can go to a monthly rate that would include X. And, you know, make some recommendations to council to seek alternative legal representation or alternative contracts for legal representation for consideration, instead of having an open-ended $190 an hour account. Be that a staff attorney, or be that a contract basis, or be that a retainer basis, I don't think we as a committee can say one way or the other would be beneficial, but I think we can say that it would be worth the effort of council to give that direction to city staff to seek alternatives.
But was it not briefed at the last council meeting that you were getting a break from Mr. Rosenberg to the amount of $95 if the staff did it, $125 if he did it, and you quoted $300 or $400 per hour for the other folks that y'all had contacted?
That's correct. Those are the rates that we have seen, from a $2,000 a month retainer fee to as much as $350, $400 an hour have been some of the hourly proposals submitted by attorneys. Again, would it be beneficial to the city? I don't know the answer. Is it worth seeking the information to see would it be beneficial? Very much in the same manner as face value says, yeah, we could cut how much we're paying in healthcare reimbursement, but what is the actual savings compared to?
We can hire someone on full-time for that amount of money.
And
You know.
can that full-time person, excuse me, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Do you want to go ahead, or you want me to? Can that same person handle all of the legal for the city, or do we have to have multiple attorneys if it were in-house?
There shouldn't be any conflict, right? To say you have a representation for the city, including 4A, 4B, whatever it may be.
Let's simply make the recommendation to city council to look at alternatives for legal service. Okay?
So the 4A and the 4B would pay their portion
Well,
of the city?
I don't know.
That's another
One option would be, hey, we're gonna go put a city hire a city staff attorney. He represents the 4A, the 4B, the city, he does all of the work. Would we ever have to go outside the realm of that one attorney? Probably. Okay? Would it be more cost effective to go to an attorney and say, here's the contract fee, we're gonna pay you, you will provide these services, X, Y, and Z. If you go beyond that scope, you're gonna charge us this hourly rate. Would that be more cost effective? Would it be more cost effective to do other alternative? I don't know, and I don't think we are qualified as a committee to say, this would be the best answer, or that would be the best answer, but rather to encourage the council to seek alternatives.
Jim, what I understand is like 4A needs their own lawyer to protect them against the city. I don't know if protect them against the city, but those, you have to have your own lawyer over here in the 4A, and the city has to have their own lawyer in the 4B. That's what I understood.
There's a couple of opinions on that, okay, that I have heard, okay? It is the opinion of Mr. Rosenberg, okay, that they need to be separate attorneys because of conflict of interest.
Right.
It is not documented that way in the statute, okay? And as they are corporations of the city of Floresville. I don't know the answer to that question, but that is certainly something that any attorney bidding on a contract process is going to be able to tell us in there. And that may be even a question that we, as a city, need to submit to the AG's office, to say, is that a conflict of interest? But I think by simply giving the guidance of seeking alternatives to the council, that way they can come up with an option. You know, if we have these kinds of expenses, which are 5% of the total city budget, you know, in some cases, that's a significant piece.
I think it's more, not necessarily conflict of interest in, you know, coming from that perspective, but I think it's more of ethics, more along the line of it, that's probably what's borderline, you know, from the attorneys doing 4A and city and so forth.
The city,
I'm gonna recommend that we take a 10-minute break. We've been sitting here, we still have debt service to consider, and we have the going concern to consider. I see it as 2:50 p.m. We'll reconvene at 3 o'clock.
On the meeting in January, this is for everything
I heard you had a great tour.
I did.